Every romance anime you have ever watched ends at the same moment. The confession, the music, the credits, and you sit there thinking, okay, but what now? What does Tuesday look like? What do they actually say to each other in the morning? What does it feel like the first time someone calls them a couple at school and everyone turns to look? Most anime never answers that. Most anime treats the confession like a finish line. But Angel Next Door Season 2 starts where every other romance anime ends. And what comes after that? The awkwardness, desire, the jealousy, the healing, the small, unglamorous realities of actually being with someone is more honest and more relatable than most romance anime ever bothers to be. This is what that season gave us and why it matters. Let's get one thing out of the way first. This is not Toradora, Oregairu, or White Album. Those shows run on high stakes drama, misunderstandings that spiral, and feelings that stay buried for 12 episodes before anyone says anything out loud. The confession is the payoff of a long emotional war. Angel Next Door was never fighting that war. And if you came into season 2 waiting for the drama, you probably felt like something was missing. But the wrong expectations going in will make you feel like something is missing. And that is on the viewer, not the show. Because what this season is doing is something completely different. Season 1 built the question. Two people living next door, slowly realizing they need each other. The whole architecture of that season was one long answer to will they or won't they? Season 2 makes that question irrelevant on episode 1. They are already together, and the show immediately starts asking the question nobody else bothers to ask. Now what? How do you go public at school when you have no idea how to act as a couple in front of people? How much jealousy is normal? How cuddly is too cuddly? Who gets to decide the pace? But they are the questions most of us have actually asked ourselves at some point. Most romance anime ends where life actually begins, and this one starts there. On another note, I kept calling this show a relationship guide while I was watching it. And I want to be clear, that is a compliment, because the show is never preachy about it. It never stops to explain itself. It just shows you things and trusts you to recognize yourself in them. M&A cleaning up his appearance, cleaner hair, smiling more, suddenly more approachable, not because anyone told him to, because having her gave him a reason to try. No dialogue needed. You just see it happen across episodes and you feel it because you know exactly what that is. Mahiru actually brings this up herself in the show. Why does he not even have to try and still look that good? And then there is the kiss scene. Mahiru worrying that he does not want to kiss her. Amane admitting he thinks about it every single moment. Her getting flustered. Him backpedaling to protect her. Her immediately wondering if he actually meant it. Both of them flustered in opposite directions at the same time. That scene is a few minutes long, and it contains more honest depiction of early relationship anxiety than most shows manage in a full season. And then there is the reassurance, the pace, the way Amane keeps saying, we do not have to rush, we just enjoy what we have right now. Not because he does not want more, he is very clear that he wants more, but because he understands that her comfort matters more than his desire. The show keeps depicting things like this. Jealousy that comes from caring rather than insecurity. The physical closeness that starts as comfort and becomes something charged. The way one person reads the other's mood before a word gets spoken. And it never announces any of it really. It just shows you. And you recognize it because you have felt it or you have seen it. Or somewhere in the back of your mind you are filling it away for when it applies to you. The show holds up a mirror and trusts you to recognize yourself in it. And if someone tells you this is too neat, too comfortable, too low conflict to be interesting, I would tell them they picked the wrong anime. Because this show was never trying to be anything other than exactly what it is. And what it is happens to be very, very good at what it does. But here is the part that makes it land harder than it should. Underneath all the sweetness, the cushion that smells like him, the head scratches, the thigh scene, there is something more painful running through this entire season. Let's zoom in on episode 11. Amane's mother has been sharing childhood memories with Mahiru. Stories about him crying, embarrassing kid things. Amane finds out and wants to disappear. And then Mahiru says something quiet. She says it is interesting to her because she does not have childhood memories like that. She never got to experience them. And Amane goes speechless because there is nothing to say to that. Here is something the show plants early and pays off slowly. Mahiru's name literally means noon, placed by her father between his name, Asahi, which means morning sun, and her mother's name, Sayo, which means little night. The whole family is a timeline from morning to night, and Mahiru is sandwiched in the middle, named after a concept, not really seen as a person. This is a character who grew up in a house where nobody was really there. Her parents were present enough, but not paying attention. Not asking about her day, not showing up for the small things. And the small things are actually the whole thing. The small things are what tells a kid that they matter. Amane had a mother who embarrassed him with stories, who showed up, who cared enough to be annoying about it. Mahiru had parents who gave her a poetic name and then left her to be raised by a housekeeper. And across this entire season, through the bully Amane thanked for helping him grow, through the childhood friend who never helped but got quiet forgiveness anyway, through Daiki who controls Itsuki because he does not know how to trust his own son, through Amane's parents telling him they will beg him even if he makes the wrong choice, the show keeps building its argument about what parenting actually costs, what it leaves behind, what it builds, and what it breaks. And then it puts these two people in a room together and lets them slowly fill in what the other one is missing. By that point, the show has quietly become something closer to a story about healing. None of that disappears just because they are together now. The domestic intimacy that Mahiru started offering Amane because she felt obligated, cooking, caring, being present, is now just their life. The warmth she never received, she is now both giving and getting back. The confession did not start any of that. It just gave them somewhere to stand. The season ends where it started. His apartment, just the two of them, his birthday. They thank each other for existing in each other's lives, they acknowledge the jealousy, they say they know the other one would not do anything, they say it still makes them nervous when the other one is out in the world without them. And then after the credits, she ties his tie, he says yeah, and they leave. That is the whole season in one image. Two people who were both in different ways learning how to let someone in, who found each other, who are still figuring it out, who are going to keep figuring it out. Angel Next Door Season 2 is not the most dramatic romance anime you will ever watch, but it might be the most honest one. And if you are someone who finished Toradora or Oregairu or any of those shows and sat there wondering what their Tuesday actually looked like, this season is the answer to that question. There is still a lot more I would like to dig into with this show. The parenting wounds running through every character, and the way this show films its couple, the pacing, what it does with the camera that most romance anime never bothers with. If you want those videos, let me know in the comments please, because that would decide if I end up making more content out of Angel Next Door or if I would rather move to maybe some more, let's say, in demand anime. And if this season hit you the way it hit me, share it please with us in the comments. See you in the next one.